Welcome to another Pokemon Professor Review. And Pikachu decided to come over and take a nap while we talk about absolute value. Absolute value is essentially a measurement. It is a measurement of how far a number is away from zero. So if we're talking about distance from zero, hopefully that should lead you to the idea that we're talking again about number lines. Now I'm going to look at two different examples here. We're going to talk about absolute value equations and absolute value inequalities. So let's start with an equation. The absolute value of W equals 6. So this is a very simple equation that says the location of W needs to be 6 units away from 0. So let's take a look at our number line. Here's 0. Now I need to go 6 units away from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the location of W. But here's the thing. That is not the only location that is 6 units away from 0. There is another if we now go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so there are actually 2 locations for W, which means W can equal -6, or W could equal +6 because both are 6 units away from 0. So what you need to understand when it comes to absolute value equations, because you can be to the right, the positive, or to the left, the negative, that means you're actually going to end up with 2 possible answers when you're dealing with absolute value equations. So let's talk about absolute value inequalities. So I'll do the absolute value of A is less than 4. And then we'll also do absolute value of A is greater than 4. So here's 0. So absolute value inequalities say kind of the same thing that the equation does, except this is a little bit different. This is saying the distance where A is, or A could be any distance that is less than 4 units away from 0. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4 in both directions, then this means that in order for A to be less than 4 units from 0, it can be in any of these locations in between -4 and 4. So remember, we're dealing with less than, so when we graph this inequality, it's going to be an open circle. Same thing out here, open circle. And now, the places where the distance away from 0 is less than 4 is in this space and here. So this is an interesting situation where it's more than just one side of the number line, but it's a piece of the number line in between these 2 locations. Now, for our other inequality, we have the absolute value of A is greater than 4. So we're saying the distance away from 0 is greater than 4. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this time, instead of being a distance that's less, we need distances that are more. So we need distances that are to the right, that are more or greater than 4, but we also could use numbers that are to the left of -4 or less than -4. Now, how we write these two situations, those will be shown in your algebra class. What I wanted you to understand here was how the distance away from 0 can lead to 2 locations on the number line, a segment of the number line, or it could leave out a portion of the number line but include everything else. The most important thing you can understand about absolute value is that the absolute value always represents the distance from 0. That is it. It is not about positives, it is not about negatives, it is always the distance away from 0. So hopefully that helps you for this Pokemon Professor review. Make sure you watch the next video.